Hello everyone, and thank you very much for joining me in this tutorial. So in this one, we're going to talk about Lightsail, right? How you can deploy your Django applications on an Ubuntu server using Lightsail, Amazon Lightsail. That is what we will cover in this lecture. And as you can see, this is what will be the final product. This is the IP address of the Ubuntu server, which is present over here. Okay, and I'm able to access my Django application on this particular IP of this server. Right, so how I did it, all that will be covered now in the tutorial. So stay tuned with me. Do not miss any part of the video. Don't skip anything. Watch the video from the beginning till the end completely to understand the complete process of the deployment. We're going to create an instance first. Fine, and here we're going to select an Ubuntu operating system. This is the latest one, I guess. So we can select this one, and then we can come down and see all the steps are written here. So we're going to follow these steps. Then comes this choose instance plan. So we're going to select the first one. It starts with $5. Okay, what else is there? Name your instance and click create. Okay, so I'm coming down. I can name it as Ubuntu intro. Okay, and then I'm going to simply create the instance. So once the instance gets created, the next step comes is connect to your instance. So let's just So once the instance is there, it will get enabled automatically. You just have to click here, and then you'll have to wait for some time. And this is how you can log in into the server. Okay, what was the next thing? So it's installation of all these dependencies. Let me do this first. Okay, so we just have to hit the enter button. Okay, so now comes the turn of the second command, which is this. Let's just fire it. Done with it. Coming back to the repo, here we have to. Okay, so now we have to simply copy this, put it here. Let's see what's happened. Okay, so this is a complete command. Let me close it now, and now I'm going to simply fire it over here. So it has cloned the repository. Okay, so the next thing that comes is cd into the Django app. So I'm already inside the main project folder, inside which the manage.py file, my applications are also there. Okay, then comes the next thing, preparation of the virtual environment. So this is the command that you have to fire while you're there inside the main directory of your Django project. Fine, so the virtual environment has now got created. You have to simply activate it like this. Fine. Now let's install the dependency. So the first thing that we have to do is installing pip. Okay, so it's the Python libraries manager, and I'm going to now run this command for installing all the libraries present in the requirements.txt file. Okay, let me just show you the structure of this repo here also. So this is the main directory, Django CI/CD public, inside which I have this my project. Inside this I have all my files. Okay, so deploy info is the name of the application, and then there is this my project inside which I have the settings.py URLs file. Okay, so you don't have to configure all these things. All these things are already configured. You can just take the GitHub link, copy it on your Ubuntu Lightsail server, and then you can go ahead and follow all these steps, execute all the commands, and install the libraries, and then host the project, run the project on the IP address of the server. Let me come back here in the repo, and I'm going to open this steps for Lightsail deployment again. I'll have to come down. I'm done with doing these two things. Now it's time for us to configure the settings.py file. So if you are not using this repo, you are creating your own repo, or you are creating your own Django project, you will have to configure this settings.py file also, so that hosting doesn't become a problem for you. Okay, so in the allowed host, either you can put the IP address of your server, or else you can put an asterisk. Okay, simply put an asterisk in between these two quotes, and then you're good to go. So it will allow all the IPs to access the application. Then comes the static root. This is what you have to pass as a path for static root named variable. And then comes this thing, collect static. So it will create the static files for you. Okay, then comes the migrate command, and I'm going to simply copy it, paste it over here, firing it. Migration is done. Then let me create a super user also. So this is how you can do it. Then why? Okay, done with it. Next thing that comes is installation of Gunicorn. So as you can see, my virtual environment is already active. If I fire this command, Gunicorn will go inside the virtual environment. But because it is already there, that's the reason I'm getting requirement already satisfied. Right. Then comes running the project on Gunicorn. We just want to see whether this project can be accessed on port number 8000 or not. So this is the best way we can do it. We have to simply pass the name of the project's root directory, which is my project in my case. So it is running, it is upon port number 8000. What is the IP address of this Ubuntu server? Let's check it out. This is IP address. We can go inside it, and then we can find it over here also. If I will put HTTP, and then I'll put the IP address and port number 8000, I'll do. So currently it is not accessible, right? But why it is not accessible? Let's check it out. So it says test if the app is working by visiting this IP and port 8000. If not, then it means that port 8000 is blocked. Okay, so you'll have to fix this issue. Now to fix this issue, what do you port 8000 AWS Lightsail? Okay, so let's come here in AWS Lightsail, and now you have to come in the networking section, and here in this IP4 firewall, we will have to define a role for port number 8000. Okay, we have to simply put 8000 here, and then we can create the rule for it. Custom TCP 8000. That's it. Now, if you will try to access it, you'll be able to access the application. See, let me just access the app which is there inside my project. So it is also now accessible on this IP address on port number 8000. Okay, but the moment I'll close this Gunicorn, will I be able to access it? No, it's no more accessible. So now it's time for us to host this application on this Ubuntu server in a way that we don't have to run this command every time from the server. It should be always active. Okay, we'll have to create a Gunicorn service for it. We'll have to activate Nginx, and then we'll have to create a proxy, right? All that stuff we will do now. Let's come back in the file, and here we have to create a service first. So we are going to name the service as Gunicorn service. Okay, I'm putting it here like this. Now we have to add all these lines of code. Okay, let me just explain the lines of code also to you. So my project, this is the root directory of my Django project, correct? And this is the complete path of it. So you'll have to pass this complete path as a value for this parameter. Then comes execute start. So here you will pass the Gunicorn's complete path. Inside my project, we created a virtual environment. Inside it, we have a bin folder inside which we have Gunicorn. And then we have this Gunicorn socket over here inside this my project. And this is the name of my project, correct? So this complete thing is the value of execution start. Now we're going to copy this entire thing and simply paste it over here like this. Okay, save this by pressing Ctrl and S keys together, Ctrl X for taking an exit. Now comes the next thing. Okay, I forgot something here. I missed to add T at the end of the target. Okay, Ctrl S X. Now comes the next thing. Systemctl daemon. We have to now configure the daemon. This is how you can do it. Daemon reload. Okay, and then system restart Gunicorn. So it will start the Gunicorn service for us, and now we're going to check the Gunicorn status. So the service that we have created, this is the current status of that service. So it is running fine, it is enabled, and it is not giving us any kind of error. The next thing that comes is Nginx configuration. So this is the command that you have to fire, which will create a file named my project inside the Nginx sites available folder, and then you'll have to just add this complete thing. Okay, over here like this. Here you will have to make some changes. Now what all changes you have to do, let me just show that to you. Server name you will have to change because now the IP address is different for us. For me, the IP address is this. Okay, simply copy it and paste it over here. You'll have to remove these slashes and this HTTP also. Simply keep the IP like this, and everything is going to remain the same except this path here. So it may be different for you if you're using a different project altogether. Okay, so that's it, and then you can just save the changes. Ctrl X for coming out. Then comes the next thing, which is creating a symlink between sites enabled and sites available. So if you're familiar with Nginx, you must be familiar with this command also. If not, then you can simply fire the command and the symlink will get created. Okay, then you have to do this for saving the Nginx configuration. If you can see, conf file has got created successfully. Now we have to start the Nginx. Either you can use enable or restart. So if you use restart, let me just check the status of Nginx. Okay, so the status is up. It's not showing any kind of error also to us. And now comes this checking if the application is accessible on port number 8000 or not. So it's not accessible. Is it accessible on the IP address? No, it's not accessible on the IP address also. Now why is it not accessible? Even if Nginx and this Gunicorn services is in place, why the application is not accessible over the IP address of the server? It's just because the folders, the parent folders of the project doesn't have those permissions. Okay, doesn't have the required permissions. So we are now going to give the required permissions to all these folders so that they can be accessed over the internet. Okay, and then comes the last thing, which is my project. Done with giving the required permissions. Then we have to give the permission for accessing this Gunicorn socket also. Done. And then the last command is like this. Okay, service commands again. How we'll do it? Sudo systemctl restart Nginx. Okay, and then we have to restart the Gunicorn service also that we have created. Done. Now let's see. Not accessible. Not accessible. It is still not accessible. So what we will do now is we will check the logs. Okay, the Nginx logs. This is how we can check it using inherited sockets. Okay, let's come here and let's allow this Nginx. Let's execute all these commands again. Done. Then this is also done. Okay, so everything is now allowed. Let me come here and check if the application. So the application is now accessible. If you see, right, I can access it directly on the IP address of the server. So this is the, these are the steps you can follow for hosting your Django application on Lightsail. Why Lightsail is preferred? So, if you want to have a defined cost for your server. So in the beginning, you must have seen I chose $5. So it will not cost me more than $5 per month. But in general case, what happens if you're going with a EC2 server, right? You can create an EC2 server also on AWS or any cloud platform. So they're based on how much you're using it. AWS or the cloud platform charges you. But here the charges are defined, and you can do everything with these servers also, whatever you can do with the EC2 servers that you deploy in AWS. Okay, you can execute load balancers, you can do, number of things, networking, containers, Kubernetes, everything you can do here, right? You can create snapshots also in single click, all that stuff, right? So this is it from my side in this lecture. I hope you guys enjoyed it.